7 years ago, I was single with no kids. And now I'm waking up super early to go on a surprise Starbucks run for my wife and all her kids. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good one.
7 years ago, my coffee used to only cost like $3, and now it costs about $45. $45 on a good day. But 7 years ago, I was single with no kids, and I had no major responsibilities. I was only responsible for myself. Now I'm married with 4 stepkids, and my wife and I had 1 kid together. So I'm going to be very vulnerable with you right now, and I'm going to speak to all the step-parents, step-moms, step-dads, and anybody who's just considering being with somebody who have kids and baby dads.
All right, I'm going to let him rock, and we're going to let him go ahead and get his stuff off. But before we do so, I want to let you know that I always give credit to the content creators, regardless of whether I agree with them or not. So the link to his profile is going to be in the description. Also, T. Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Also, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Just posted something in the Patreon. I need y'all to respond to that ASAP. If you're a bag chaser and you're watching this and you haven't responded, I need you to repost to that ASAP. And then last but not least, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Yo, to think that a man is willing to take on a bunch of other men's kids is wild, or another man's kids is wild. Marrying a woman that had 4 children previously is absolutely insane. And you know me, I'm never going to advocate for somebody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. With that being said, I think that it's a good and a bad in this. The good is that we get to save a family. The bad is that we actually make this or use this as an example, as the blueprint of what we're supposed to do in a community, and that's not what we should be doing. I believe that we should be encouraging people to go back to the child's fathers or mothers, that you should, at the very least, all right, if you guys decide after the children gets grown or graduate high school that you guys want to separate and do your own thing, I'm all for it. But I just believe that children are a major responsibility, and that responsibility primarily lies with the biological mother and the biological father. So whatever it is that y'all need to figure out to do, make it work. But, with that being said, and I do believe that this is a bad example to set for the precedents, because proactively now we're teaching people that it's okay to break up your family. It's okay to go on. It's okay. You're going to find somebody else. They're going to go ahead and get into it, and it gets messy. It gets super messy, and I want to hear what he got to say, and I'm about to come back to him. But it does get messy, and I think that inherently the children are always going to want to know who it is that fathered them, who it is that is their biological parents, and why they are in this situation in the first place. And the reason I don't say who their mother is because we know overwhelmingly the mother is the one that then gets the control by default, and you just got to really just be a POS mother. You got to be the worst of the worst, piece of trash, not doing anything that you're supposed to do, to not be able to get control of the child, especially initially. You really just got to be a sack of shit. So with that being said, for somebody to then come in and you meet, I don't even know how you meet somebody like that. Like, how do you meet somebody and then they say, you know what? I have 4 children, possibly by more than one person, but let's just assume the best case scenario, because I don't know him and I'm just using this as an example to illustrate a point. I have 4 children by somebody else, and I would love for you to come in, and when you come in, you're going to have to understand that you're accepting us as a package deal. How do you take that deal? I don't know how somebody takes that deal. That is a bad deal. That is the worst deal. That is the worst. I'm going to put myself at a disadvantage. And I've even heard of people of adopting those same kids, which means that you relinquish any financial responsibility to the biological parent. They've adopted those children, which basically says they are mine. I don't see it. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But let's get the whole story. And I'm gonna rewind this because I want to get it in its entirety, and then we're gonna come back and break it down. All right. So I want to go all the way to the beginning, and then we're gonna get there.
7 years ago, I was single with no kids. And now I'm waking up super early to go on a surprise Starbucks run for my wife and all her kids. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good one.
7 years ago, my coffee used to only cost like $3, and now it costs about 45. 45 on a good day. But 7 years ago, I was single with no kids, and I had no major responsibilities. I was only responsible for myself. Now I'm married with 4 stepkids, and my wife and I had 1 kid together. So I'm going to be very vulnerable with you right now, and I'm going to speak to all the step parents, stepmoms, stepdads, and anybody who's just considering being with somebody who have kids and baby dads. You have to be mature. You have to think logically and understand that you have to take other people's perspective and put it into consideration. If she's co-parenting, you gotta let her co-parent. If she needs to talk to her baby daddy in regards to a decision that needs to be made about their kid, you sit back and shut up.
Which basically confirms that the baby daddy will always have access and be tied to that woman basically for the rest of their lives.
Do not expect to be a part of a step family and think that you can run that family however it is you want. You have to understand that you're entering a family where one of the parents has had to take care of the kids all by themselves, and for you to go in there and tell them what to do, you're mistaken. My 4 foot.
So you're not the king of your own castle. Let's continue.
11-inch wife who had 4 children was afraid to let men around her kids. Her oldest child at the time when I started dating her was 10 years old. So for 10 years, she's been taking care of kids. No man to tell her what to do, what to say, how to do things. It was all her. I couldn't enter that woman's life and say, I need you to discipline your kids this way. While I'm working, you need to clean the house and have dinner ready for me when I get home. I don't want you talking to the other kid's parent. Now, I'm going to tell you the secret and a mentality that you need to have when you're entering a step family. You 100% have to be humble all the time. What do I mean by that? Take your pride and throw it away. All you have to do is love that person and contribute on top of what they already have.
Love them and give them your resources.
For any man out there saying, I can't do that, that's not masculine, bro, you better leave that woman alone and stay the hell away.
Which is the exact advice that I would give to you guys. Leave these women alone and stay the hell away. Don't trauma bond with them. Don't love bomb with them. Don't do anything with them. Don't become friends with them. And one of the reasons why you don't want to become friends with them is because a lot of times people will start to overlook things that they normally wouldn't, concede on, and they'll start to make adjustments because they start to see the good in them, or they start to understand a story, or they start to bond with them in other ways, and so they'll start to have goggles. You know what I'm saying? These crazy goggles that will then allow for you to make a decision that you normally wouldn't make. And so, you know, honestly, I don't think that I know that there are situations and there are circumstances where some people just wind up, rolling craps. And then there's other situations where people knew what they was getting themselves into and they still decided to dip out. I don't think that you should ever play another man's save game. I would never advocate for you guys to play another man's save game. It is so bad. It is so horrible. And now what they're trying to say to you guys is that you don't have any other options because the only women that are available for you, the majority of them have children already. And so if you want to get with a woman, then you got to get with a woman that's already got a ready-made family for you with a bow tie on top of it. Even though you took care of your business, even though you was on top of things, even though you was a smart person, even though you made wise decisions in your lifetime, make sure you take care of another man's kids because it is the right thing to do according to society. Miss me with that, bro. Miss me. God didn't want that for me. He never wanted that for me. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.